You started to build AI workflows for your business in an automation tool like Make.com or N8N, and when you try to add a Google product like Gmail, Google Sheets, Docs, etc., you quickly hit a wall because this sign in to Google button doesn't actually work. So let's walk you through the process of getting your Google account connected. So first thing, you're going to hit Show Advanced Settings, and then you'll see these two fields, Client ID and Client Secret. Now, let's go grab those guys in Google's console. You can use the link in the video description below. Next, log in with a Gmail account. It doesn't matter if you have a free account or a paid workspace account, both will work. There's only a little variation that I'll show you during this process. You may land on this welcome screen, or you may land on a hub screen that looks like this. Either way, we're going to go up to here and hit Select Project, or it might say New Project for you. Hit New Project, and then we're just going to start right here. So first off, let's just name it, and we'll just call this Make Test, and then hit Create. You don't need to have an organization listed here. Great. So while this guy starts to spin, we see that things are underway. You can actually go to this notification and grab the project right from here, but you'll see that it's listed up at the top of the screen here. All right, so I know that I'm in Make Test. So once we're here at this Cloud Hub, you can also go to a couple other locations and the screen should be the same, Cloud Overview, Dashboard. So in these cases, you're still going to have access to the project that you just created. If I select on that and then select on the project, now the project is listed. And from this point, I'm going to drop down from this series of selections along the left side here, and I'm going to pick API and Services. Let's go ahead and pin that to the top there. All right, cool. So the first thing we're going to do is go up here and enable APIs and services. Since we're here in this library, we may as well enable a whole bunch of different Google applications at the same time. So Gmail, Drive, Docs, and Sheets, which we can do all from the same library. So you go right here to the start and just type in Gmail. API is going to show up here. Select on it and hit Enable. Okay, that's it. Once that guy gets going, we'll move to the next one. So we can get back to that same location by hitting Library. And again, we're going to hit Select Google Drive next. It's the first one that shows up. Select it here. Again, push Enable. And we're going to keep doing this with the other products as well. So still with Google Docs. There it is. Hit Enable. And then lastly, we're going to go ahead and go to the library again and do Sheets. Google Sheets API shows up first. We hit Enable. Now we've got all of the major products that we want to use in Make.com or N8N enabled via this library. Excellent. So we do that step first because we need those things to be enabled for later steps. So next thing we're going to do is head over to Credentials. Notice that right now we don't have any credentials listed. We're going to create an OAuth 2.0 client ID. First thing we have to do is configure our consent screen. Okay, so now that I've gone through that consent process, you'll notice that I can create my OAuth client here. You'll also notice on the left that this menu list has changed. You can actually go back to the prior screen here just to see kind of where you started. If you go back to OAuth consent screen from that location, again, we get back to this option here. We hit Create OAuth Client ID. Application type here is going to be Web Application. And we're just going to call this Delete Me, because after this is done, I'm going to delete it. Then we scroll down here and we're going to say Authorized Redirect URIs, and we're going to add a URI. I will put the link for this in the description so that you have it and you don't have to write it all out. Now, the first thing you might notice here is that it says Integromat. That actually used to be Make.com's name, but then they rebranded and now they're Make.com. So what I like to do just to be doubly safe here is to add another variation of this, and I just put Make.com in there. So they're exactly the same except for the brand change is reflected in the second one. Okay, great. Application type, and then I hit Create here. It says 5 minutes, but actually it happens really quickly. So now this guy pops up here and you can see that it's been enabled. So this client ID will remain visible and available for you. However, this client secret will go away right after this screen. So copy this, store it in another location, a notepad or Word doc or somewhere safe, and then we're going to go ahead and use that later. So I'm just going to paste mine here. And again, I am deleting this right after this session, so unfortunately you won't be able to take that and use it yourself. I'll just copy the client ID here as well, and then we can have them both. Great. So now I have everything that I need. So you might think that you can just go right back over to the Make application and put the client ID and the client secret right here. But in fact, you can't, because we haven't actually enabled the various API connections that we need to in order for this to work fully. So you can see right here, we're going to head over to data access, and now we need to add and remove scopes. So we'll open up that screen. This screen I find tends to be a little bit finicky, so I'm just going to go ahead and move it up to 100 so I can see everything and just manually scroll down. For me, for whatever reason, the little search feature doesn't really work, so let's just grab these first three on Gmail, and then we'll skip those two, add these three, and then we'll add send and labels. And so once we've selected all of these Gmail APIs, we're going to drop down here and look for the Google Docs API Drive Read Only and select that one. And that's going to cover it for us for now. We're just going to go ahead and update. And then don't forget at the very bottom here, you've just got to hit save. Okay, so now that we've saved this, we're going to do a few more things and then we're finally done. Head back up to branding. We're going to go ahead and add a couple of authorized domains here. So again, this is the former make.com, integromat.com, and then authorized domain 2 is make.com. So now we've got those covered. Hit the save button. Then, just so you see right here, we're still in the testing phase. We don't want to publish this app. We're going to leave the web application in testing, and we just need to add testers to be able to use the app. And hit save, save again, and then you can see that it's populated over here. Great. So now we have everything done that we need to have done. We don't need to worry about this verification center. So now finally we can head back to our make.com scenario, open up this email again. Again, I'm going to add a new one, and we're just going to call this delete me connection name. Great. Show advanced settings. And then from here, we're going to populate those two data points that I grabbed before. Client ID, which gets dropped into here. And then we'll grab the client secret and we'll drop that into here. And now we're going to hit sign in with Google. Now we select the actual account that we're going to use. And what it's going to say here is Google hasn't verified this app, and that's okay. It's got this happy little back to safety blue button. We're actually not going to hit that. We're going to hit this continue button. Cool. So now I can see the address listed there. I'm going to hit continue. And now I'm going to give it access, read, compose, send, etc. And then hit continue. It's going to process for a moment. And then look at that. Delete Me has made it. Awesome. So now let's say we want to add a Google Drive. So we go and look at all the Google options here. We pick out Drive, search files and folders, choose an account. There's the Delete Me one. Now, because I've already created all the necessary connections and enabled the various apps, we're going to go ahead and continue here, continue, and guess what? We now have access with this account to Google Drive. And you can continue to do this with all the other Google applications because we took care of all the various APIs and enabled all the correct components in order for this to work. So hooray, we did it. Great job. Go ahead and check my other videos here if you like this kind of stuff, and I'll see you next time.